Hi, Libra. Okay, so a lot of you have been asking, what is going on with you and Libras? Are you going to tell us? And then I guess you guys were like, no, she's never going to tell us. Let's stop asking. But I've been thinking about it, and it's not fair, right? So I should tell you something. Something. And this is what I've realized. All the Libras in my life, in some way or another, express the same sentiment to me about a few months ago, and I'm always a few months early. So that's why I picked up on it early, and I was just like, whoa. But I think everyone's kind of been feeling it from you lately. So now there's a lot more people who are like, oh, wait a minute. And what did I pick up on? I picked up on the sentiment. I'm just going to verbalize it as if one of you were saying it to me. So I picked up on the sentiment from several really close Libras in my life that there was something in their life that was really, really, really bad for them. And it was a consistent, really deep hurt. They were being violated by this thing. It's bad. It's really bad. It's not just like me being dramatic or being overprotective of my friends or it's not that. It's like something really, really bad is going on. And in no uncertain terms, I was told by every Libra in my life that this thing that they have in their life that's really, really bad, they are never going to let it go. They're never going to stop. They're never going to leave. They're never going to get away from that pain. And when I first realized that it was happening with every Libra I know, I was like, wow, this is, one interesting, just occupational hazard. You're always looking for astrological patterns. So when you see them, you're like, oh, interesting. But also it was just, it was hard for me as a Gemini because it takes me so long to process pain. And it hurt me because that's probably the only thing you could say to me that would make me give up on someone, is someone who has resolved themselves to stay in a certain form of destruction and like know it's destructive but not want to get out of it, but not even like almost proud of being in it, proud of wanting to stay in it, just really happy with it. And that's great, except if it wasn't so painful to them and hamper so many parts of their life and make them generally miserable. If they were like owning their debauchery, or if the Libras in my life were owning whatever was going on and not being deeply hurt and like cut, to the bone by it, I wouldn't have a problem with it. If you want to run yourself into the ground having a great time, I'm the last person to stand in your way. Gemini will never stand in the way of that. But that's not what is happening. It's more of a resolving yourself to something that you perhaps think that you're not strong enough to beat or overcome somehow. So that's what it has been for me. It's a moving away. When I decide to emotionally then move away, what generally ends up happening is that I see more and more of the person, and that has nothing to do with their sign. The thing that I told you about has everything to do with your sign, but the other stuff, that I've been personally dealing with has nothing to do with your sign. That's just like personalities. Everyone has something different going on. So don't take it personal. But about the first part, that is something to think about because often we forget that it is the perfect host of the party, the one kind of keeping it together on a social level for us all. We forget that that person is often internally really sad and has all sorts of, stuff going on that they don't generally share with people because that's not their role. You haven't been gifted with the role of being able to go to people with your problems and say, hey, I'm really sad, or, things are going really wrong for me and I don't know how to stop the spiral, or I'm trying to make it better, but everything I do is making it worse. You're expected to show up, not just socially, but just in life. You're expected to show up and say, hey, what's up? Everything is great. How are you? Do you need anything? How can I help you? Oh, great. Yeah, I know what you can do about that. Hey, I know this person. Let me give them a call. Or, sure, that's what you need. I'll hook that up for you. And that's, supposed to be the end all be all of it. Thank you, Libra. Bye. You know, so I feel for you. I understand how difficult that is. In some ways, I can relate. But I never realized how it can so easily translate into then you guys privately hurting yourselves with stuff, be it a relationship, a bad habit, an addiction, whatever it is. It's like you take it out on yourself when you're alone, how much you tolerate when you're not alone. So in Urdu, there's this expression like apna gussa na pee jana, right? It means to like drink your anger. And I feel like, but it means more than that. It means to, especially like in social situations, like upholding social convention and social norms, there are times when like a fucking auntie will say something to you and you have to, and not like rip her head off and tell her that her husband's a douchebag and all four of her kids are fucking brats who, can't read still. Or whatever your version is of telling an auntie off. That's always my go-to. Your children are illiterate. But don't be like me. So, because you guys don't do that, because you don't have, the karmic option of, sorry, my eye is itching me. Because you don't have the karmic option of being that, mean to the bone Gemini, you have to, stand there and like apna gussa pilo. Like, how many times are you going to do it? How many times are you going to drink your anger? How many times are you going to tolerate all these things that people say and do consistently that you're constantly internally like, what, it's almost like I feel like the past couple of readings you guys have been watching me and you're Parker Posey from the House of Yes. Remember, there's at one point she says, well, if we're all going to start telling the truth around here, I'm going to bed. What's the point? You can't show up. I can feel it coming off you guys the past couple of readings. Like, you can't show up to the party of life and then stand in the middle of the party and say, the host is a fake. Well, on some level, we all know the host has to be a fake. That's why they've been chosen to be the fake, to be the host, because they're the best at playing the fake. That doesn't mean they're fake. It just means that they're best at filling that role without, actually being fake. Like, can you imagine Gemini's trying to be the host of the party? Good Lord. What kind of party would it be? What kind of party would it end up being? There would be like blood draws involved. There would be all sorts of like Angelina Jolie shit going on. For sure. So I feel like, there has been a sentiment overall of going, well, of course, on some level, we do, keep things to ourselves. We do, make things nicer to listen to. Sure, we carry information back and forth because we're connectors, but it's not necessarily, that doesn't necessarily mean we're gossiping. I understand all this and I see what you're saying. But I would like you to see the other side of it, which is why I told you even what's personally been bothering me, is because I realize now that it is your need to and your karmic duty to uphold these conventions that then leads you to take out on yourselves things that, that anger has to go somewhere. Like, सिर्फ क्योंकि आपने अपना गुस्सा पी लिया है इसका मतलब ये नहीं है वो कि चला गया, वो अभी तक आपके अंदर ही है, right? You still have that anger inside you. It didn't leave and go somewhere else just because in that moment you didn't express to that auntie that she should go fuck herself. You know what I mean? You still have to deal with it here, right? So what I'm saying is, what I've been observing and what has really, it's frightened me. And that's the thing that I don't think that people get about Geminis. We're not really all that devious. We just like to pretend that we are. That's why we're the least criminal. We're just not very bad people. We just like to like pretend to be, like truly, truly destructive things actually kind of scare us because there's such a enormous love of self. So when I started to realize, like, in my own naivete, even though this is what I do for a living, I started to realize that even I had been in some way duped, by the Libran facade of everything is cool, everything is great. Hi, how are you doing? What can I help you with? You know, customer service, like spiel. Like me too. I was also like, okay, yeah, Libras are totally with it. They get, you know, so when I started to not only see, you know, this other side, but also to see the desperation and kind of vehemence with which Librans can stick to that thing, because it's the only thing that can balance out all this other stuff that they have to, you know, almost on a karmic duty level deal with all the time. It frightened me. Yeah, that's the only word. It scared me. Like, I'm always of like the thought that we're supposed to be trying to get better and leaving, you know, destructive stuff behind and constantly growing and constantly evolving. And I've always felt that, you know, the air signs were with me on that. Like, yeah, that's us. But I realize now that in our own ways, all three have this strange stubbornness where in our own ways, Librans, Aquarians, and Gemini, we stick to things, you know, we stick to certain things. And with Libras, it's the needing to balance out, you know. So on one scale, you've got like the world and everything that you do for the world and all the role you have to play. And on the other side, how are you going to heavy this scale enough to make this not, you know, be so just overwhelming? And part of that can be, you know, through self-inflicted pain. It can be through self-destruction. So, you know, there's that. That's what I'm realizing there. And it helps me to be less judgy, you know, to understand things. That's the only way out for me. I never can compassion my way out or feel my way out. It always has to come from a place of understanding. As soon as I understand something, I'm like, okay, good, I got it. You know, and then from that understanding, it led me to understand also more about myself, because I'm like, no, there are things that Geminis also hold on to. Even though we're so mercurial and we're just like ready to move on, there are certain things that we will like just not let go of, you know. And then Aquarians in the same way can be really, really stubborn. So going through this with you guys has opened up for me an entirely new aspect of my own personality, but also in the way I understand you guys and Aquarians, and also in the way I understand my work in general. So thank you. It sucks that you, or the ones at least in my life, exposed a side to me of themselves that really does scare me. And my reaction to it was just to pull back. It sucks that once I pulled back, what I saw more and more of those people like disappointed me more and more. But that's, like I said, that's just a personality thing. But you know, always silver lining, always a good thing coming out of stuff. So the good thing being, I understand you guys better, I understand myself better, and I feel just understand air signs better, you know. And it's helped me so much in my own life already, because when I start to see myself being stubborn and self-destructive in this same way, I'm like, oh, this is it. This is the, you know, the air sign stumbling block here. I see it. Okay, I got it. So thank you. I'm sorry I've been so, you know, difficult and abrasive. I can never hide how I feel. I just can't. But I hide it from myself, and so like I'll be upset about something, but I think I'm angry, and I'm not angry at all. I'm just really, really upset, or I'll be really hurt, and it comes out as me being super mean, you know. And like people are like, "Whoa, you're just mean." And I'm like, "No, actually, I'm just really hurt." But I don't even know it until like weeks later, and then I'm like, "Whoa, yeah, that really, you know, that hurt my feelings." Because I think the reason it hurt my feelings, and it's so like egotistical to even say this, but like I'll tell you, and you guys probably already know, like as Libras, you're very good judges of character. Actually, the reason it hurt me was because I took it personal. You know, like you don't want to get better. Even for like me, like we're gonna have fun together, like you're a part of my life, like we're gonna do things together. Like why do you want to stay sick? Like why do you want to stay in this horrible thing? Why do you want to keep getting hurt? Why do you want to, you know, whatever XYZ, like whatever iteration it was, like why do you want to keep doing this? Like don't do it, you know. Don't you want to like hang, you know? Like I don't get it. And that's like, you know, typically like Gemini selfish. I'm not denying it. Never denied it. Never claimed to have wings. All right. Ooh, 2 cards out already. Ace of Wands and 6 of Pentacles. Good. Good. Ace of Wands. New opportunities coming in, especially in terms of life purpose and work and feeling just generally more at home with stuff, settling back into stuff. You guys have like been causing a little bit of a ruckus around you, and now you're settling back in, and the world is welcoming you back with this Ace of Wands. And then 6 of Pentacles and 5 of Swords. So a reversal of fortune, reversal of position, but also for a lot of you, feeling like really deeply betrayed or being accused of betrayal. So the 6 of Pentacles for me, the turnaround card usually, there may be people now who are accusing you of all sorts of things who are now having to look at it and be like, oh, wait, is that what happened? You know, so people who were accusing you of things now coming out as being the ones who were lying, but also people accusing you of lying. So both, the 5 of Swords applying to both here. The reversal, 6 of Pentacles, also applying to both. So Ace of Wands, 6 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords together. Oh, and then 6 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles. Great. So another 6. You have the opportunity. You can affect a turnaround. Lying is not going to help. All the white lies, the socially accepted stuff, the stuff you do to be nice, cut it all out. 6 of Wands, the world, the universe is ready to push you forward. It wants you to move forward. It wants you to progress and get out of your funk. 9 of Pentacles, money and, you know, opportunity. The Ace of Wands coming up as the first card. The 9 of Pentacles, the woman who has it all. Money doesn't look like a problem. I think this is really just about what's going on with you, you know, inside. King of Cups. So if you're dealing with a water sign, Libra, they're showing up pretty prominently and they're showing up powerfully. So matching you in that 9 of Pentacles energy, this is someone who, whether they're a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer or not, it's someone who you feel is your equal, and in some ways secretly perhaps you feel a bit intimidated by because they have a tendency to sense things that you can't. They have this sixth sense, this kind of eerie, that's kind of eerie to you, but they know how you feel and they don't make you verbalize everything, which is really a blessing because then as an air sign, people expect us to be able to articulate everything. And a lot of times Libras are so sensitive that they talk a lot, but they don't tell you anything, you know? All right. And then we have the 3 of Swords and the Magician. And the bottom of the deck is the Fool. So let's take a look at what we got going on. All right, all right. Ace of Wands. Six of Pentacles, 5 of Swords. 6 of Wands. 9 of Pentacles, King of Cups, 3 of Swords, and the Magician. So once again, the scales at work. Balance and choices to be made, right? We can't be mad at that. It's the nature of how you work, and here we are again, okay? So let's take them one by one. Let's look now at these first 3 cards in terms just of money and opportunity. In a work situation, if you feel like you have been in a submissive or subservient position work-wise, money-wise, the turnaround here is very real if you take advantage of the opportunities in front of you. What does that mean? That means that something is literally going to be put right in front of your face and it's going to be like, here, you can have this if you want it. And if you, in that moment, are able to grab the hand of destiny there and get the thing and take the thing, not even get, just take the thing, okay, that you are being openly given. It's just here, take it, it's yours, you can have it. You can have it. This is another way to do the thing. It's another way out. It's another way to save your ass. Like, take it, do it. Okay? So, if you are able and brave and feeling up to it enough to take it, then you will experience a Six of Pentacles reversal in terms of finances and in terms of position. He's got the scales in his hand. That's you here. Okay? Now, once you do that, it becomes really, really important to redo your reputation. You've got to now, from this new position of power, whether it's outside, whether it's externally at work or in terms of finances, or internally just within yourself, you've got to decide now that there are certain times when drinking your anger will no longer work because it's just too dishonest. You've got to decide within yourself now that you don't want this in your life. And why am I saying that? I'm only saying it because it's coming up. So if it's coming up, whether it's coming up as other people doing it to you or you doing it to other people, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. You're only attracting it from others if it exists, if it is existing within you and you're exemplifying it, or it exists within you and you're projecting it out. Either way, we come back to source, right? To the person, in this case being you. So this is not accusatory. This is not me saying you guys have been lying. I'm saying that for whatever reason, this energy has been surrounding you guys for a couple of months now, a little more if you ask me. And most of this is just because you wouldn't have a private life of any sort if you didn't, take your white lies where you can and carve a little invisible space for yourself. It's like you guys go, into the invisible, dimension where no one can see you for a few hours. And my fear is that when you go in there, it's what you do in there that scares me, right? Although, again, I'll say it, it's none of my business. It's none of my business. I'm just saying it is time now to look at all that you do and stop doing things and putting things in that invisible space, and instead be taking a long look at what's been going on around you and what brings this out of you. Is it being around people? Is it having to be the friendly one, the nice one? Is it around family? Is it around people who have forced you not to tell the truth? Whatever it is where you are being pushed somehow into this role, that now must be examined because it will get in the way of these new blessings that are coming in, but just in general, it gets in the way of prosperity. And then, as we confront the bad and the questionable and the unhealthy and destructive within ourselves, we have a tendency to rebound with quite some energy and into pretty powerful positions. Feeling back into the stride of things, back in the game, feeling good, sitting high in the saddle, really being able to look at the people around you who perhaps for the past few months have been snickering at your fate and at how things have been going. And now they're looking up on you again as someone, those scales tipped again quite quickly. And speed being implied here with the wands, but also Libras are quick. And your turnaround can be very quick as well. That's why I like the Six of Pentacles card here, because I like the turnaround energy for you. It's a good energy for you. Like I said, he's got the scales, It's okay. It's okay to do this. Remember, I always tell you, it's okay to do this as long as you remember that if you're here, it's going to go like this again. You guys are funny when you get stuck here and you walk around going, it's never going to be anything. And it's like, no, will you just even out? Will you just remember that you got to, come on. But it's hard, when you're, it's like a cancer when they're on their back and they're going, no one's ever gonna love me. I'll never get. And it's like cancer. Someone flip that crab over, please. And then they're like, oh yeah, thanks, bye. So if you're dealing with a cancer, I'm sorry that I just called them out like that. I really wasn't trying to. It's just it's an apt comparison because cancers can get really in their feelings. All water signs can, and Libras are known to really get in their feelings. So there is a commonality and a commiseration with the more emotional ones of the zodiac between you and them. Now, Nine of Pentacles. I like this. I like that the center of the reading and it began with money stuff and work stuff and opportunity, because as much as, love and pain and healing and all the rest of it is on the horizon, these three cards for me are definitely about money. They're definitely about work. That's why I said what I said about your reputation too. And they lead, they funnel into this Nine of Pentacles energy, which is, I am feeling really good about my place in it all. All the trees that I planted have borne fruit. I am surrounded by the abundance that I have wished and planned and manifested into being. And how did I do those things? I did them by seizing opportunity where I found it, by believing in my turnaround and being generous to those who then switched to the other scale for me, and by adhering to a rigorous form of honesty with self, so I don't have a bunch of stuff built up that I then later have to take out on myself. And all of this, kind of rehabilitation leads to the Nine of Pentacles energy of, I'm feeling financially really good. And let's remember here that what she's holding in her hand with the glove here is a hawk. Now, I drive every day about 20 minutes away to and from this place to pick up my son from school. And right before you get into his town is a huge farm field. And the field is dotted with falcons that are all just sitting in the field still, I guess looking, waiting for the mice to pop up out of the holes in the ground. But they are just everywhere. And so they're everywhere, and they're majestic and they're huge, and sometimes they'll fly right in front of the car, and sometimes they'll sit right there in front of you, and it's just crazy, right? And so when you see so much of them, so many of them, you're of course more curious about the myth of it all and the history of it all. And so I've been studying a lot about falcons lately, especially because of the ties to ancient Egypt and Osiris and the Osirian temple and all of that, right? So that has a lot to do with my book. So it's all been tying together for me. And as I was writing up the parts about Egypt is when I started to first notice the falcons, and I was like, whoa, no way, really? So I'm noticing here that she's got a glove on. And she's got a glove on because that's the type of glove that you need to wear to handle a falcon, because their talons are so incredibly sharp. And then he's got the cover over his eyes to keep him from overreacting to things. So I want you to really look at this now, because after I told you that, it does take on quite a different significance considering what we've been talking about, right? You are able to revel in all that you have and all that will come to you, and yet there is a part of you that does feel hooded and, controlled by the world. And so you are not just the woman, but also the falcon. You are both. You are the externality that everyone sees, the almost game show host quality of it all. The person who is the host of this thing called society, right? But also the powerful, natural, pagan symbol that, she holds in her hand. Also this raw, natural, a killer. The falcon is a very dangerous animal. So nice and pretty and then vicious at the same time. This says a lot about what it means to be dual and yet be completely comfortable with it and not at all see it as a liability or as some sort of a negative in terms of personal character traits. You can be the one who shows out great, but also the one who keeps certain parts of you, closed off. the one who doesn't want to see certain things. And that will always be a part of you. I understand why the Five of Swords energy is necessary. I do. I just think that right now there is a reassessing that needs to be done, and perhaps a new way of balancing the private and the public. And what, how much white lies do we, should we do like 5% to 95%? You see what I'm saying? So just recalibrating once again. Notice I never use that word with any other sign. Once again, recalibrating. But that's okay. Listen, I got to talk to the Geminis about the other twin every month. Moving on. King of Cups. I like the King of Cups here. I feel that for a lot of you, it is a great time to meet someone who's super duper emotional, but still able to keep your attention. So smart enough in a way that you are not smart. So Libras are very intelligent in terms of cerebral, and King of Cups is someone who is intelligent in terms of emotional intelligence and is able to sense things, like I said before, on a level that you perhaps can even find a little bit spooky. But that's cool. It's done in a cool way. Now, the thing to be careful of here with the King of Cups energy, but also with anyone that you might be thinking about right now, might be a potential right now. I know it's weird to say around Valentine's Day, but that's the way the cards came up. The Three of Swords and the Magician together is two things. One, it's encapsulating the energy of whatever you are sure is going to happen in your love life. You're like absolutely sure that that person's a liar, and you've been, you're heartbroken, and that person effed you over, and that's all it is. And you're like positive. Oh, I already know what that's about. Okay. Or it's, and I'd like to see it this way, because the Fool is the next card that comes up. We'll talk about that in the extended. What is it? Five of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. See, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the extended. So I would like to see it this way. The Three of Swords is, you go from Five of Swords to Three of Swords. First of all, that's an improvement, right? To go from hurting others to just hurting oneself, or just being hurt oneself, is a vast improvement. Now, Three of Swords can be that rock bottom that we so eagerly need sometimes before we can bounce back up into a place of power, transmute the energy, and move forward into a very, very nice new beginning. That new nice beginning has its own pitfalls. So you see what I'm saying? If the Fool wasn't the bottom of the deck, then this would be a completely different story. And I would agree with you and say, yes, this is the person that effed you over. And yes, they were lying to you. And that's why you feel the way you feel. And that's what it is. But that's not really what it is it? What I think we should do is pull one more card, and then we'll look at the bottom of the deck. Because this is very much, the two scales again. Three of Swords feeling very, very much like down in the dumps, and then the Magician energy coming in and being like, no, you don't have to feel that way at all. We can, make the best of this. We can transmute this into something great for us. We can turn this into anything we want. We have the raw energy to turn this into anything we want. So really, the trajectory going back up as he has his hand raised there, with the wand in his hand, like, we can do this. There's, there are hurts that are being, swords that are being pulled out, and yet swords remain, and that's okay. I think it's okay that the Three of Swords are here. Like I said, it's either a rock bottom that you were looking for, or it means that at least out of the five, two have been pulled out and you're on your way. And then you've got the Magician there to help you, transmute even more of those swords from pain to insight. Because ultimately the swords are, they're supposed to be thoughts. Now, whether those thoughts are painful, destructive ones, or they're insightful, productive ones, that's up to you. Damn! I said that's up to you. I came out in reverse. I love what I do. Sorry, I just had to do that. So I guess you want to look at yourself. Quite an outcome, huh? All right. So what is it? So what does it mean? What does it mean? Okay, let me tell you what it means. First of all, why is there something on your card? No, I know you guys hate that. What is that? Okay, it's gone. Don't worry. So, Three of Swords and the Magician, and then the Justice card, the Libra card in reverse. First of all, it's been a while. Hello, Libra card. In reverse, at least it's out. We'll take it in reverse. At least it's out. It's not that big a deal that it's in reverse. But, you know, it is kind of a big deal for you to just look at yourself and see that a lot of what has you turned around right now can only, you know what this says to me? This is the outcome card in reverse. It says that what's going on with you right now can only be fixed by you. Because you already know that you can do this. You already know you can turn this around. And you already know that you can use the best of what a Libra is, the best qualities that you have to turn the situation around. And yet right now you feel upside down and hopeless. And I get it. February is a tenuous 28 days. But coming up after that, you've got some really great energy and some major arcana, actually. So, again, extended. But for now, what you need to focus on is how much power the cards are putting back in your hands and saying, well, you're asking me what you should do in this situation. Well, I'm asking you. You're the one with the scales. You're the one that sits in judgment. You're the one who knows what's fair and what's right. You don't know what's fair and what's right for yourself and how you should be treated? Of course you do. You don't know what's fair and what's right about how other people should be treated? Of course you do. So it's the cards throwing it back in your face and saying, don't ask me, ask yourself. You know what to do. Just because you're all turned around doesn't make you any less the Justice card. Just because this card came up like this doesn't mean that I was like, oh, what card is that? I don't even recognize that now. Obviously, it's still still you guys, just, you know, upside down. So the obvious, you know, implication being turn yourself around. You can do it. Remember, it's like the crab, like this. Oh God, oh God, oh God. You gotta, you know. Sorry, let me just throw you around like that. You gotta, you know, turn yourself around. And when you do, what you will find is that these are not decisions that are very difficult to make. Sure, you have some minor adjustments to make, and you have some pains and hurts to get rid of, probably some forgiveness here, probably needing to ask for some forgiveness here. But ultimately, the opportunities are coming to you. The scales are in your favor. They're tipped in your favor. You have new victories coming to you. You have a new sense of well-being and also a new way, learning a new way to balance, you know, both aspects of you. You have someone coming into your life that is really offering you a lot, and it may be bringing up the pain of a previous situation with someone who was not honest. And if that's the case, then it makes sense that the Justice card would be in reverse, because it's saying, you know, you're turned around over something that happened in the past and you're going to apply it to someone new and you're going to mess it up that way. You know, you're not seeing clearly. You're not weighing this out clearly. The scales are upside down. You're not doing this right. And so that, you know, major arcana guidance coming in for you, saying when it's upside down and it's your card saying turn around, you're going in the wrong way. You're doing this the wrong way. And what that means to me in the scenario I just described is you cannot hold other people hostage to your hurts, be it from your past, from your childhood, even from them. You have the responsibility to process your own hurts, regardless of how they come to you. It is never going to be anyone else's responsibility to do that for you. And, you know, deceiving yourself out of that healing is not fair. Okay. That's February, Libra. I think we did really well, huh? I love you guys. I'll see you in March. Keep up on Instagram, because we'll be doing lots of like snaps and stories and stuff from Negril. And the extendeds will be up in a few days. And if you can't access them here, you'll be able to get them on my website. All right. I love you. See you in March.